But while the APC is enjoying the moment of what they believe will solve many problems the nation is faced with, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, is dismissing the report as a ruse and fresh attempt to capture Nigerians with another round of lies, empty proposals and hollow promises ahead of 2019 elections, just as it did in 2015. The opposition party also said the report is another calculated ploy by the failed President Muhammadu Buhari-led government to divert public attention from the woes of a worsening economy, unrelenting killings, corruption, and the endless litany of afflictions occasioned by their almost 3 years of dysfunctional governance. That is according to the PDP. Let's get then into the conversation tonight. I have that man you saw just earlier on the in that sound bite in Abuja, the secretary to the APC Committee on True Federalism, Senator Olubunmi Adetumbi. Thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start. I'm very certain that you have heard and seen a lot of criticism about this program that your party had put up. The big question is that your party did not move to discuss or to consider the issue of restructuring or true federalism, whichever way you've tried to coin it, until some Nigerians took it upon themselves and there was a huge clamor, because that is the very first promise made by your party in your party manifesto ahead of the 2015 election. So the question is, your party was reactionary to this issue, isn't it?
I thank you for having me, but I don't agree with your premise.
No, that's not. That's a question.
Yeah, I don't agree with that premise. I don't agree with that premise. The APC had a clear statement of the promise of enhancement of our federalism in its manifesto, and it has spent 3 years in office and came up with this report of its findings based on the popular discourse among over 8,000 Nigerians that we consulted with, to produce a report that provides a roadmap. Don't forget that in order to arrive at conclusions on issues as fundamental as restructuring our federation, as is being proposed in this, it's not something you will just wake up and start to do. It requires a lot of reflection, a lot of consultation, a lot of consensus building before a party can, in its right senses,
Senator,
come to the public.
The question I'm asking is that before your party even woke up to start talking about this, it was a false promise of your party, which a lot of people will think, perhaps in the first 3 months of assuming office, your party should have considered it. That was not done. Your party came up until, your party did not come up with this until after the clamor was so loud across the land.
Now, let me tell you this. There's a popular saying in my place. When trees fall upon trees, you have to take off the one that is on top. True federalism is important, but insurgency became urgent. Economic depression became urgent. You are aware that the president was ill for some time. These urgencies took over a number of things. And as soon as there was some respite on all these fronts, it became important and necessary for the party to follow up on all of this and deepen its consultation, arrive at conclusions that are empirically determined, because the fact that you put something on your manifesto is not necessarily saying it's going to be done exactly the way it is. You have to go to the public, go to the people, reach out to every segment of society and make sure that whatever it is you are putting on for implementation is constructive.
Because the question is, it doesn't look like your party had it as a major agenda. That's the issue. No, because if you make a major promise, except your party made that promise and never meant it, or just put it inside the books and never meant that it was going to happen.
It is impossible for a party to put something on in its manifesto with the intention of deceiving the public. Look, to produce this exercise, what went into this exercise was massive consultation, 12 consultations in all, zonal, geopolitical zones of this country, 2 locations per zone. We had 2 hearings in Abuja, and several consultations. We received 409 memoranda from the public, both in hard copies and online, thousands of emails from Nigerians, both at home and in diaspora. to process all of this information into a logical argument is not something that you can just do without preparation.
A lot of people...
Our party has decided, in its own wisdom, that in order to make good its promise, it needed another layer of public engagement, and that's what we did. And that's what we are doing. That's what we are still doing here. You know,
Senator, the big question will be the truthfulness of this exercise, the process, because your critics, your party critics have said this is just a PR stunt for your party to perhaps cajole Nigerians as the 2019 elections are closer, because the major question will be the issue of implementation.
Now, we need to move away from cynicism. All this tendency that a party is deceiving the public and doing public relations, I think it's an insult.
No, but it's not always far away in politics.
No.
Politicians always do, a lot of politicians always do stuff, not because of the deeper value of it, but the surface value of it.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
You don't agree also that politicians make promises but they never accomplish them?
But that is not in APC. The APC don't make false promises. And this is one of the promises we made. Look, for a party to treat an issue that ordinarily, I said in Abuja, that is a no-go area. We had a government for 16 years in this country that was not able to raise this type of issues. The APC have spent 3 years in office. We've raised these issues. We've debated it openly. And the findings have been presented openly to the public without holding anything back. Devolution of powers. Taking local government out of the federal constitution and allow states to self-determine how they want to govern their geographical jurisdictions. These are things that have never, ever happened in the history of this country.
Senator, I will allow you to dissect this because as a secretary, you have all of these, you have your hands into all of these issues. But let me quickly go to our Abuja studio where Alfred Kemapado is the Secretary General of the Ijaw Youth Council. Perhaps one of the groups across the country would have talked about the issue of marginalization, the issue of imbalance and injustice from the perspective of your region, the perspective of your group, or the perspective of your leanings, ethnic leanings and all that. Do you see this as a good development, politically speaking?
Basically, for me, I and we see this as a good development because, yes, we can agree that it's a little bit coming later than we had expected, you know. But for me, it's a good development, and for many of us, it's a very good development because the truth is, what is most important is the recommendations in the document, which we had all the end for. So for now, I think we should concentrate on reinforcing this development and commending. Don't forget, just on the 1st of January, the president had a broadcast, and in his broadcast, it clearly showed that he wasn't in for restructuring. And today, his party has come up with a roadmap for the restructuring. So what I want to commend their courage and their understanding of the issues that plague Nigerians, because almost everything that is in that document is reflective of the yearnings of Nigerians. Yes, it's about a year and a few months for the party to go, but it's not also too late for us to begin to make contributions towards the progress of our nation. I say this, their recommendations does not constitute a Bible. It is a recommendation that will be subjected to further tweaking. So I want us to concentrate more on the tweaking of that recommendation. For me, from the Niger Delta, there are many questions, preliminary questions, I must say, that comes into mind. Now there are the issues of the 15%
sorry, Mr. Kemapado, we need to take this break. Sorry, I need to butt in here. We need to take this break. We'll get more reactions on what the APC means by these ideology and what these recommendations mean for Nigeria, the future of it, and perhaps will the president present these to the National Assembly with executive legislature issues that we have always seen. That's going to be next on the program, everyone. Join us again.